Informaton on your voting record. Oh, well.
Could be a new word.
4:59. Are we ready? Call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3 is review and approve expenditure warrant number 41 in the amount of $108,082.64, covering the period April 6th to April 11th, 2021. And this warrant includes voucher number 1126 for the MSAD 44 payment of $95,065, and expenditure warrant number 42 in the amount of $41,008.97, covering the period from April 12th to April 20th, 2021.
Got your recorder on?
I do, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't see it there.
Is there a motion?
Oh, okay.
Is there a motion to approve the warrants?
I move both expenditure warrants be approved as read.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Warrants are approved.
Thank you.
Item 4, review and approve the minutes of April 6th, 2021.
Move that be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Minutes are approved. Item 5, comments from the public. Anybody not on the agenda that's got anything to say? Selectman contacted outside of the meeting.
I was not.
Nor was I. Item 6 is to open and review mowing bids.
I think we just have one in there though.
Oh, that will be a
One bid.
short review.
Review.
Oh, I didn't bring that. So do we not have the bid from our usual?
No, this gentleman worked for him,
Okay,
so worked with him all last summer
okay.
to learn the ropes, so.
So, says, to the town of Greenwood, I, Anthony Billings Sr., would like to propose a bid of $11,200 for the seasonal lawn care position, which includes but not limited to everything listed as Greenwood properties in the lawn care packet. Sincerely, Anthony P. Billings, 77 Bethel Road, West Paris, Maine, and he's listed references: Wesley Cox, Mike Nelson, I think, Kevin Russell, and Pam Moody. And he has provided a certificate of liability insurance, looks like $1 million policy, liability. Do we know what we paid last year?
11,000.
So this is our one and only bid, and it's the only person interested. Discussion?
So what was the bid for?
11,200,
And what was it last year?
11,000,
Even?
and that was Wesley?
Yeah. Leslie.
So is Wesley out of business?
Well, he took a year off and then came back and
And he's,
trained this fella.
so he's not bidding,
No, not bidding this year.
okay? So,
Don't think we have any choice.
we
I
can do
agree.
either if we want the cemeteries mowed.
I make a motion we approve the bid
Second.
for 11,200.
Second.
Any more discussion? Been moved and seconded to give the mowing contract to Anthony P. Billings of West Paris. All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay. Item 7, discuss Western Hills Access Television funding with Brooks Morton. You're up.
Hello, thanks for inviting us. As you probably know, 2 years ago, I was getting ready to go to Washington DC to be trained as a public news hour reporting lab for Tulsa High School. So that became abandoned when I had my incident. The Tulsa High School has approved and funded a AV club, which is up and running, which was the first part of our plan to, in Western Hills Access Television, our charge is to provide access to the government, education, and the public sectors of society that don't have access to free speech. So now that we're getting back out of it, we're going to try to set up all of the town offices in case we have another incident where the public can't attend with remote camera and broadcasting equipment so that all your public meetings can be broadcast. It'll be compatible with Zoom so that the program that we're looking at will be, you can operate everything from there. All of the cameras are much smaller. This is the little camera that's over here. So we can provide two different angles, and it would be, the public can see who's talking, and then they can also see with a larger camera there. What we propose in this is to set up the town with the ability to do their own broadcast, train you, provide the equipment. This could be mounted up there. The type of cameras that we're looking at called PLZ cameras. Whatever that stands for, I don't know. But it can all be controlled by the computer. The angle and everything. We'll also provide quality sound recorder and a smaller camera to get the second shot for the audience. So this will be the initial setup. With eventually hoping to provide equipment that's portable so that the other organizations you have in town, historical societies, can record their meetings, special dances, that sort of thing. So what this is asking for is seed money to get this started. We have been active updating the station so it's more of an internet station now than it is a cable station. We have a website. We also have links where it can getting sort of breath here. Picked up on Apple TV, Roku, so you don't have to be connected to the cable in order to get it. With the way that Spectrum is trying to push out the cable companies, we feel that it's important if we start building local capacity so that we can provide more local content. Because if you don't get it, even the local paper is becoming a little sparse on, specific content. So, let's see. I have 3 points. Not used to being out in public. So, the equipment, will work, and we would like to see if the town of Greenwood would appoint a second member of the board that would have some technical capacity, that would be a working member. We still would love to have Richard as a member since he was a charter member. And he has been wholeheartedly supportive of public television from the beginning. But Jewel and I, Wayne, do a lot of volunteer work. We can't do it all. And if each town had a representative that would learn the equipment, learn how to patch it into our station, because we can do live broadcasts now. So, if you wanted a public meeting with a call-in, we'll be able to provide that. And also, we want to trust our AV club members to be volunteers so that they could come in, once we get them up and running, to volunteer in their town to cover that. So, even though we've been pushed back a little bit, I've got thousands of bird videos. So, once we get up and going, we have all the background to provide all the local content that those communities can generate. So, this seed money will help us provide the equipment.
So we would be broadcast live, or would it be recorded and broadcast?
Either way.
Either way.
Yep.
I just want to add that even when we film these, especially like select board meetings or anything, I love to edit them because we can't take anything out. So even if you were broadcasting live or not, you still have to pick up everything.
Right.
It picks up everything
Right.
that's going on.
Public meetings, public
Yeah.
meetings.
Brooks, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
So if they were to purchase or subsidize that, or however it's called, and they had 2 cameras and they were operating from a computer or a phone or something, would that work the same as what we do when you have 3 scenes and you just,
Yes, yes,
it's very cool.
yeah.
You just switch the
Yeah,
scene
we
with your
live
finger. I thought, oh, I can't do it, and then I was like, switching, so.
Yeah, we live.
It's very
we do have
user-friendly.
Live broadcast, a portable system that we did all of the graduation exercises, which was, I was just getting back on my feet. My son Josh was just learning the equipment, just the beginning of all the craziness. Then we pulled it off, so,
5
Good.
events,
Huh?
5 events live,
yeah.
right?
And I just wish that we had Sunday River's bandwidth, because we reached affinity and beyond as far as households. They just,
You made reference to seed money, so how much seed money, what is seed money? How much?
I think I requested 2,500.
Okay, so 2,500 from Greenwood, so
Yeah,
what is the seed money that you're looking for around the surrounding communities?
I'm asking this year 2,500 from each community
Okay,
to set them up with their own system.
so what are we talking about, 10, 12,000?
We serve 4 towns that buy in, so that's
10,
10,000.
okay. So, I guess for me, I've been watching the Access television for years, and the one thing that has always frustrated me is the sound, the audio.
Yeah.
So this new technology that you're looking at investing, is that significantly better audio?
Yes, because quite frankly, it's Spectrum that's messing with our audio
Okay,
and our video quality. We broadcast them stereo sound. They transmit a much lower quality sound.
mm-hmm,
So it's just one of the ways that Spectrum's been, they've been throwing every monkey wrench that they can into it.
okay, so
So
how would this, new technology change that?
if you look at our broadcasts that are on like Roku and Apple TV
Okay,
and the internet platforms, we don't have that issue.
okay, so I don't have Roku, and I don't have Apple,
Okay?
and I rarely look at television through internet. So how would that change for me?
Well, the only thing I can say is the cable organization, cable company organization of Maine, have been lobbying hard. I mean, we lobbied to get back to the local channel 11.
Right.
Because they had us at 1302,
Mhm.
and that was a signal, is we want you to go away. So we lobbied for that. We're lobbying for the sound quality and audio quality that we provide be, you know, the same as we send them. So,
So you hope to continue to broadcast on cable, but
yes,
you
You
never
don't,
know.
you don't know, right?
yeah.
And that's where you are currently, is 1302?
We're back
Through
on
Spectrum?
They're back on 11, right?
Yeah,
They're actually at both.
Oh,
Both?
really?
The whole place
I
is
believe
there.
they're both, yeah.
Huh.
They were.
Yeah. yeah. So,
So even Brooks, when you utilize that recorder for sound, it still gets, it doesn't have the same quality when it goes through Spectrum.
no, because the cable company on their end, they mess with our sound. You know, Josh tried to chase that around with the technicians and finally got Spectrum to admit that they have to they use some technical term to make it compatible with theirs.
Mhm.
So in other words, you know, they changed it.
Okay, so, remind me, what could we do with the 2,500 in our budget?
We didn't add it to our budget because we have funding in
Because we
this
have funding.
current budget we could use.
Okay. So it's not affecting our upcoming budget?
And we currently already give back the franchise fees already?
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever we take in, we send right to them. That's been our policy.
And what was that last year?
The year before it was like 1,200, and this current year they sent me almost 700, so it dropped.
Huh.
Yeah, see, they've been messing with it.
Yeah.
Because they lowered the fees they were collecting, or because
Or
people were
maybe
dropping cable,
Yeah, I
or?
think people unplugged.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, huh. I guess not much to do about that.
So we
Okay.
don't have to take this to town meeting, or should we take it to town meeting?
You don't have to, because we have the money in the current budget to do it, not add it to a
Okay.
big pile of.
So this could be our decision, do we vote
Yeah.
on using that money from the current budget tonight? Is
Yeah,
that
if you want to, that's fine.
the idea? Okay. Well,
And then we gotta find someone to train.
I'd be willing to do that on a 1-year experiment.
okay, well, I mean, you're asking for the money this year, and we
Right.
don't know what's happening in the future, right? But so,
Yeah, this will be used to set it up, and you can just, it's like a trial run,
yeah,
see if it's,
okay,
you know, 'cause like you say, we don't know what the cable, landscape's gonna look like.
right.
You know, with all the new technology,
Right.
it may be a dying thing, but public access will always be an issue. You know, there's no other venue where you can get an unedited town meeting, selectmen's meeting, and you know as well as I do, I heard this and I heard that spreads like wildfire in the community. And if you can have a tape and say, no, but they said this.
Right,
Yeah,
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
for sure.
And it sounds like we need to beat the bushes for someone willing to be a member of the board that has the time to put in as a volunteer, so like a recent retiree or an enthusiastic young person or something like that.
And we do have a YouTube presence, and some of our most viewed shows have been historical shows. Some of the Bethel historical ones that have discussions with people who aren't here yet.
Right,
And they discuss things that people probably can't even remember now.
Right.
So, that's another one of the things that once we get out of this COVID, is set the Bethel Historical Society up.
Sure. Yeah.
because they have an archive.
Yeah,
And if they have the ability to, you know, do some of their programs and live, you know, live broadcast it, I'm sure that there are seniors in, you know, facilities and retirement homes in Florida that would really like to listen, and now they can contribute in the conversation with Zoom.
right. So if somebody wanted to review what was on YouTube, you'd do a search through Western Access Television, is that how you would find it?
Yep, yep.
I'll do it.
I think if you put in, if you type in Western Hills Access Television and don't let it go up .com or anything, but then it'll take you to a page that it will say, I think YouTube was on the top yesterday when I was
Yeah.
looking for something.
And,
It says that and then YouTube channel.
yeah, and also.
And then just click uploads and you'll see
Yeah.
a
I'll
lot
check
of
it out.
them.
We haven't officially launched our internet site that has, you know, connections to all of our other things,
Right,
but that is westernhillsaccesstelevision.org. That's up and running, and you can see what it, you know, what it looks like. And that has also links to our cablecast site, which has everything that's on the cablecast, and that has also a catalog where if you miss it on the TV station, you can video on demand a show. Not all of them, because
yeah,
but some of them.
And the Cablecast site, you can watch simultaneously what is going out on the station,
Yes.
same as TV.
right.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know if they've taken down the .com site or not. I don't know if
I
it's still
think
there.
so. Yeah,
Yes,
we
yeah.
did have a site.com that Connie, you know, that Connie St. Pierre hosted up for us when we first started,
Mm-hmm,
and, but we've gone away with that since our new system.
right,
You know, we've totally rebuilt the broadcast system at Telstar, so it's state-of-the-art digital broadcast, which allows us to do all of these other platforms.
Okay, so, thoughts? Do we wanna have a motion? Do we wanna? A motion and then discuss it?
I thought you were gonna make a motion. Yeah, you said you would.
Did I have that on my head?
1 year. You
Oh,
said you would
right.
agree to it for 1 year.
Okay, was that a motion?
Okay, yeah, that's
So
fine.
your motion will be to spend
I-
the $2,500 out of the current year's budget, the $2,500 seed money that they're requesting? Is that
Correct.
right? Not trying to put words in your mouth. Okay,
Do you want me to say it again?
say it again.
So moved.
No, say it again.
I move that we allot $2,500 for Western Hills Access Television out of the current funding for the next year and revisit the issue next year.
Is that what we want?
I'll second that.
Okay, is that clear enough?
That's clear.
Okay, is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I hope
Very
Thank
welcome.
to exceed your expectations.
Thank you both.
Item 8, discuss Mahuza pledge with Catherine Ingraham. Hi, Kat.
Hey,
Okay.
how is everybody? It's nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for allowing me some time on the agenda tonight. And thank you for your support of the Mahusic Pledge for becoming sustainability partners to the town of Greenwood. I'm here tonight just to sort of answer any questions that you may have and give you a little bit of an update on how this work is going and what we have planned for the future. Right now, the pledge is being circulated through a bunch of different hospitality websites, including Sunday River, the Bethel Inn, numerous restaurants and other small businesses throughout the area. The hope is to get as many people to sign the pledge and adopt the principles and values that are stated in there as possible, which is one of the reasons that I'm here tonight, is to ask you, if you have not already, to individually sign the pledge and if you would be willing to sign it as a town, I don't know if I need a motion for that, Kim, or a vote, or if that has to go to town meeting, but, if the town of Greenwood would sign the pledge, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, they did sign it.
Oh, they did?
I
Not
thought we
even-
did that
We
already.
did it as a town.
They did
Okay.
it as a town.
Perfect. Well, I didn't,
That's okay.
sorry. Okay, well, never mind, thank you for doing that. And, is it on the website for the town of Greenwood?
I'm not sure, I, sent it to, I think it was Amy, who was doing, I think it was the last name.
Scott,
Yeah, Amy Scott.
Okay.
But it was a couple months ago.
right,
Yeah, so what we're just trying to do right now is get the buy-in and the support from local people.
Mhm.
The pledge is really it's meant to be a community outreach tool, and that's to spark the 5 pillars, which are some of the larger, more systemic problems and issues that were identified, both in the Community Destination Training Academy, but also in Mahoosic Heart and Soul. And way back to like the NTL work in the 1980s and 90s, some of those things were talked about back then. So it's really time to
Yeah.
get some wheels underneath things like, workforce development, environmental leadership, and also housing affordability and development for the communities. There is some interest as well from other towns to eventually, once we can convene in a larger group, get the select boards back together, like what happened in January of 2020. And I know there were plans to do that before COVID, but then COVID, and so there's still some energy and some excitement behind that. I was in Woodstock a couple of weeks ago, and their board's ready to do that when it's safe to do so. And then I'm talking with Nuri next week, and I think Bethel's behind it as well. So all about collaboration and working together and trying to teach newcomers and visitors alike how to respect the area and the people that live here.
okay.
On your prior notice that you sent out, I have a copy that says specifically, I commit to the following new action. When it's not on this one.
It's just a different version. So online, there is an opportunity for people to commit to a certain act. Pick up garbage if they see it on the side of the road. If the trailhead's full, find a different place to hike. It's just a different version of it.
Oh, well,
So I have some that.
I would wanna know what the new action is before I signed in.
Oh, you get to pick.
That's for you to,
You decide.
pick. You commit to a new action, like I will bring my reusable bags when I go to the grocery store, or I'll participate in, roadside cleanup day, or, right?
Yeah. So it's
Something
whatever
we
you
do.
want to make it more personal to you.
Oh, okay.
For everybody who signs it to do at least one thing to, right?
Yeah. So mine, I said I would make sure I knew before I went somewhere, so I didn't accidentally like trespass for landowners.
Ah.
Know before I go. Any other questions?
I don't think so. So you would like us to go online and sign as individuals?
Or if you'd be
Or-
willing to sign it as individuals here, I have copies. And if you would be willing to allow me to take a photograph of that, I know it's a huge ask for social media, that would be fantastic too. But I fully respect your privacy if you decide not to.
I'm fine with signing it as an individual and whatever, but
I'm okay with signing as an individual. I personally would prefer not that my signature ends up on social media.
Oh,
There's
it wouldn't,
too much
yeah, it
stuff
wouldn't be
on
a
social media.
Okay. It would more just be like a photograph from far away
people
of signing. But I don't have to include you in that if you prefer.
I feel the same way.
Okay.
You can get me.
All right, I'll get you, Amy. We can do it later if you'd like.
Whatever, you gonna stay till the end of the meeting, or we can
Oh,
pause?
I'll do it right now.
Yeah, sure, I'll sign, you take a picture, and we'll be done.
And you have the board on record as already signed.
We're already, yeah. Oh, do I need a new action?
You don't need to,
Okay,
on the spot, come up with a new action,
okay,
unless you want to.
okay. You ready? I'm signing.
Wait. I'm not as efficient as Brooks and Jewel with my technology.
Sounds like we signing an executive order. Why do they keep switching pens? That must be like.
And I can just show you quickly that it's far away, and I only captured you.
Okay,
So you will not end up on the internet, other than through
Very.
what? TV. Thank you.
public meeting. Okay. We're good? Item 9, discussion on business licensing ordinance draft.
Yes, and thank you everybody for all the reviewing of it.
So this new copy that you have provided us is indicative of the various changes that we
Yes,
recommended?
I have,
With a straight page 9 that belongs back in there, right?
right,
Yeah,
Amy found one more thing for me.
after 9.
So yeah, all the changes are in, I think, in red, and then there's
Yeah.
one question in blue.
Great.
Oh, yes. The only question I had, the daily, was this the one that had the daily fines listed? Did those come from our planning board or from the state or just,
From the state.
okay.
And do we have an option to change that?
You can have it be higher.
So are we talking about 3.10 under penalties
Penalties.
I just,
per day?
I wasn't making a judgment either way, I was just asking where the numbers came from.
Right, but that's in reference to what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah, the penalties per day?
What page are we on?
That's on number
9,
That's on
3.10
page.
penalties.
Yes. I'm fine with those, I just was curious where they came from. So the question, about public hearings, the way it stands now, there has to be a public hearing for a new applicant, but a renewal, if there are no complaints, does not require a public hearing, is that right?
That would be up to the board, yes.
Right. But it is a requirement that any new application go
Yes.
through a public hearing,
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
okay?
in that process, we notify all the abutters as well.
And then, so it's an annual renewal?
Mhm.
So at the end of a year, if there haven't been any complaints, they could get their renewal from us, from the
Yeah.
board, without a public hearing.
Right.
Correct.
I'm okay with that if there are no complaints, as long as there is a public hearing on the initial. So I guess in that case, we would leave, if there is to be a public hearing in the wording, right?
What, exactly where are you?
Page 6, it's the part that is in blue, because Norm had asked about the wording under 3.5.2 that said if there is to be a public hearing.
Right.
And the way it stands, unless we want to be more strict than the state, a public hearing isn't required for a renewal, only for an initial application, if there are no complaints. But if there are complaints, then they would be heard at a public hearing before renewal.
Right.
So,
So if we are okay with not having a public hearing for renewals in cases where there haven't been any complaints or issues, the wording here would stand, correct?
Correct.
personally, I think it needs to be more specific. If we're saying that a new applicant must go through the public hearing process, that's not clear here. If there is no complaints on a renewal, then it can be up to the board whether or not we have a public hearing or not. So the reason I brought that up is because this whole issue about a public hearing is not specific. So what I personally would like to see is that under this 3.5 public notice, we specify that a new applicant goes through a public hearing, and a renewal, if there are no complaints, it's up to the board whether or not we have a public hearing.
So is that not stated anywhere prior in this application
I-
process?
If it is, I didn't see it. That's the reason I brought that up. Is because the only reference about a public hearing
It's that
is,
section
it
there.
says if there is,
Okay,
right?
so it doesn't say when a public hearing is required
Right.
in any previous part of the.
Right.
Okay. 'Cause new licenses,
So, we're talking about, talks about applications and then public notice.
there has to be public notice for a renewal, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
that it's going to be, just like, it's gonna be on our agenda to renew the license, just like a liquor license.
Right,
But there does not have to be a public hearing for a liquor license
right, for the renewals.
for the renewal, but there does, so basically it would be following the same,
Yes,
if you establish a new business, you have a public hearing, after that, no complaints. So,
Right, the question I would have
So you
is,
want
do
it-
we need to be specific in regards to a public notice that in regards to a medical marijuana business license, that it specifies that a new application requires a public hearing, and when that same business comes up for renewal, if there are no complaints, it's up to the board as to whether or not there is or is not a public hearing.
okay, where in here would we put that, under application process somewhere,
Or under public notice. That we specify that for a first-time applicant, there must be a public hearing.
notice if a public hearing.
Okay, so if we go to 3.6, it may be a moot point from my perspective. The board shall conduct a public hearing prior to deciding on an application for a new license or to amend an existing license. The public hearing is an opportunity for the public to offer input to the board, either speaking at a hearing or providing written comments to read at the board.
So, would you like to add a paragraph there that says, for the renewal of an existing license, the requirement of a public hearing shall be waived if there have been no complaints or issues?
I like that.
Isn't that already in there?
No, it's in there in the blue, which
yeah,
is just
it's
an
in blue.
explanation
That
to
was
us.
that was
That's
That's
Tim's.
not part of the
That was
ordinance.
Tim's wording, right?
yeah, that was
Right.
just me.
Right. I'd be okay with that
Okay,
if we
Or,
did it.
or even maybe not that it's waived, but no public hearing is required for renewals
Right.
if there have been no complaints or
Right.
issues with,
So that-
for the existing license, or something like that,
Right. So that could be 3.6.1.
right?
okay.
Okay, yeah, that just makes it all very clear,
I like that.
okay.
On the
Okay, so that's our business licensing. Item 9, are we good with item 9? Business licensing, that was the last thing?
Yeah. Okay.
Item 10 is discussion on medical marijuana ordinance draft.
I think that was pretty straightforward.
And I think you wanted a site plan review.
Yes, I saw that. I'm okay with.
It was pretty
What?
limited, but it was there.
Yeah, but it kind of addresses the whole issue of odors. Yeah, I think that was the only thing that I had a question about in terms of this whole ordinance.
And you're okay with how it reads now? Okay. You're okay?
Yeah, it looks okay to me.
Okay. Now, are we taking any action, or this is just down as discussion?
This is just discussion, and I'll get it ready for our public hearing.
Okay. So we,
And just as a side question, when do we decide about license fees?
Yeah, that's not gonna be outside of any ordinance, but I was gonna try to talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay,
It'd be good to go to town meeting to list it out, what it would be.
right,
so we don't want those part of the ordinance, because then they couldn't be changed without changing the ordinance.
Right.
right. So that's a separate issue. So that goes to the town meeting?
Well, town meeting doesn't vote on it,
They don't
that's your
know.
decision, what
Yeah.
the fees are. I just would like to bring it to them so they could see what your thought process was.
Okay.
So if they approve this, what does it mean?
So next meeting?
If approved, the fee for
The
a
fees
new
would be,
would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh. Item 11, request for town meeting article to opt in adult use marijuana. Okay.
Yes, I don't know, what your thoughts were, Nick Bartlett did ask for this.
Mhm.
well, is that's the proper forum for that, right?
Yes,
That we have to get voter approval to opt in or opt out, whatever the case might be. So
so the voters opt in,
we're
then
getting
the
close,
committee works on that ordinance.
right, we're getting close to it in terms of the town meeting.
So opting in just means we're going to write an ordinance, or our committee is going to write an ordinance about adult use marijuana, so.
And then it would be another year before you can
Where are
actually
we
get that
now?
approval.
We opted in for medical only at
Right.
last year's town meeting?
Year
Or-
before.
Well, the year before.
2 years,
Right.
right, you didn't have a town meeting, okay.
We don't really have a choice, do we? If somebody wants an article brought up at town meeting,
Yeah,
we pretty much have to do it, whether we like it or not.
Right.
let the people
Let-
decide.
Let people
Yeah.
decide.
Yes.
And, you know, the voters themselves opted in 2 years ago for medical.
Right.
So eventually, somebody's gonna say, well, if you allow medical, why aren't you allowing adult use?
Okay, so
Okay.
we have time still to add that
We
to
do.
to add that to the warrant before the hearing, okay. I'm supposed to get something to you by like tomorrow, right?
It's all good, Amy.
I have a reminder in my phone.
You can have a busy evening.
Oh, okay, sorry about that, I was gonna do that a week ago. Item 12, discuss local option vote determination for liquor sales, and this is like going back to, almost 50 years ago, some of it,
Yeah.
over 50 years ago, some of it.
I guess my question is, since a lot of these issues were approved in various time periods, do we need to bring it back up to the voters, or can we simply, as a board, decide to reauthorize or not?
Well, it says that it's required by July 1st, 2022, that we must submit proof that the sale of liquor for on-premises or off-premises consumption has been authorized by the county.
By the municipality.
But they have the results of our
They
votes.
have,
Right,
there are some restrictions,
Okay, because there's okay,
yeah.
because one of the votes that they list shows a restriction which says only Class A restaurants can serve hard liquor, is that
Yeah,
that's the only one that has a restriction, right? Restricted to spirits and wine in Class A restaurants, malt liquor restaurants, okay. So, sale of liquor for consumption on the premises on days other than Sunday was voted on in 1974. And that one has the restriction of, so this means only Class A restaurants can serve spirits and wine?
correct.
And Mount Abram is considered a Class A restaurant. But,
Right.
what's the local hub considered? They're our only other license holder, right?
They're off premises, right?
Yeah.
No, they
They have
also
that
have a
right?
restaurant license though, right? According to this page,
Off premise retailer.
and,
And restaurant.
and
Oh,
restaurant.
and restaurant.
Because, so,
Yeah, but-
what does their current license allow, only beer, or does it for on premises?
Yeah, on
Malt
premise,
liquor.
well,
Yeah, but have they not changed their structure inside?
I don't think they've given up their license, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
not that I've heard, no.
if they open, for instance, a contained, roped off area outside for the summer, they're still on an on-premises
Restaurant.
restaurant. And they are restricted to only malt liquor, that, under this?
Right.
So because they have that restriction, walk me through this again.
I know.
Because there's a
Usually.
restriction that affects, what did I read it?
Restricted spirits and wine.
If there's a restriction, something about, if a restriction affects or may affect businesses, may have an impact on the licenses, I'm so confused. Okay.
Yeah.
The consequence of having specific types of establishments as part of the local option vote questions is that over the years, new types of establishments were created by the legislature that now should be included in the establishments able to serve liquor based on the type of license held. However, due to restricted language included in the questions and subsequent votes by the town of Greenwood, these establishments are not permitted to be approved for licensing by the town of Greenwood or to be licensed by the Bureau. So,
So if we had a bed and breakfast in town, they couldn't serve liquor.
and can the hub can't serve liquor, is that correct?
Correct.
Or wine?
Correct.
So because there is a restriction, we have to revote
Yes, that's what they're recommending.
Sounds like it.
on or before July 1st, 2022. So we could do this at next year's town meeting.
We could.
And does it have to be at the town meeting?
It
Or
has to be
we
at
have
a special town meeting or a regular
The
town meeting.
regular
Yeah.
town meeting?
Do we have any competing things happening? Are we licensing someone in a way that our 1974 vote doesn't allow us to?
Well, it sounds like we have been with the hub.
Yeah, 'cause are they able to serve liquor?
Yeah.
Yes, and why? Okay, so our standing vote from 1974 says that they can't because they're not a Class A restaurant.
Right,
So we do have a conflict,
we do.
and the state wants us to fix this by July 1st of 2022.
2022.
But, I mean, the state issued their license, they know that they're
Yeah.
serving liquor.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say, rather than trying to put it together for this town meeting, we wait until we're having a special town meeting about something else, or we do it next year in May.
Okay,
Okay?
I agree.
thank you.
Okay?
That was a lot to absorb.
I'm not sure I absorbed it, but. Ooh, we're getting to the end.
We tabled it.
Item 13, meetings and events, Saturday, May 1st, Earth Day, roadside cleanup beginning at 9. I think it only goes to 10:30. Meet at the town office to get a road assignment or do something on your own. Tuesday, May 4th is our next Selectmen's meeting at 5 p.m. And we will have the public hearing on the proposed 21-22 budget and the draft ordinances on medical marijuana and business licensing.
And what time do we do the public hearing?
We usually do it at 6.
Okay,
Okay, so 6 p.m. for public hearing on both the budget and the ordinances.
Yes.
okay,
So have a snack before the meeting.
yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh, Saturday, May 8th is cleanup day at Maggie's Nature Park at 9 a.m. Okay. There's no trash there. Very nice, but there are some branches.
Yeah, I think
Trees.
we'll try to clear the trails. so-
Yeah.
Or
And
trees.
Tuesday, May 18th is our second Selectmen's meeting of May. And Saturday, May 22nd is our annual town meeting at 9 a.m. in the Legion Hall. And we are good to go because the capacity is enough that we can
Yes.
distance.
And Vern has agreed to be our moderator.
Oh, good.
Okay, good.
Item 14, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks all.
You guys are efficient.
That was fast. Well, that was a long meeting for us. 49 minutes.
Really?
That was long? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Sometimes they can be 15 minutes.
Wow. I'm impressed.
So if you don't get here on time,
Yeah.
you miss